Good morning, friends. So, we will continue from the same chapter, legal and ethical issues in psychiatry. So, up to adoption, we have discussed. Now, today I will discuss from the witness. The civil responsibility. The heading was the civil responsibility, and today I will start from witness. Under the Indian Evidence Act 1872, a lunatic is not competent to give evidence if he is prevented by virtue of his lunacy from understanding the questions put to him and giving rational answer to them. Section 118. However, such a person can give evidence during a lucid interval on the discretion of the judge and the jury. Next, coming to the testamentary capacity. The testamentary deposition is regulated by the Indian Succession Act, Act 39 of 1925. Some of the salient points regarding testamentary deposition are: a will must be in writing, though it need not be registered. It must be signed by a testator in the presence of at least two witnesses. A legatee cannot attest a will. An executor is appointed under the will by the testator to carry out its terms after his death. A will can be revoked or modified any time before the death of the testator. A will comes into effect after the death of the testator. It is said to speak from grave and to be ambulatory. The testator must be of a sound and disposing mind. Section 59 of the Act states that every person of sound mind, not being a minor, may dispose of his property by will. If a medical practitioner is called to examine a testator as to his fitness to make a valid will, the following points must be kept in mind. These are: the testamentary capacity consists of an understanding of the nature of the will, a knowledge of the property to be disposed of, and an ability to recognize those who may have justifiable claims on his property. The second point, the testator should be tested on the above mentioned point by thorough questioning. If the testator is seriously ill, he must be made to read out aloud the will in the presence of the doctor. A will is invalid if it is executed under undue influence of any other person. If there is reason to suspect that such is the case, the testator should be questioned when he is alone. A will is invalid under the following condition. These are: imbecility arising from advanced age or by excessive drinking, insane delusion making the testator incapable of rational views and judgment. A will is valid under the following condition. These are: deaf, dumb or blind person who are not hereby incapacitated for making a will and are able to know what they do by it. Lucid intervals. If testator commits suicide immediately after making the will in the absence of evidence of mental disorder. Presence of delusion not affecting in any way the disposal of the property or the person affected by the will. A will may be declared invalid if the testator dispose his property in a way which he would not have done under normal conditions. So these are the civil responsibility, and under civil responsibility I discussed the headings: marriage, adoption, witness and testamentary capacity, and all about the will. Next, coming to the transfer of property. Under the Transfer of Property Act 1882, Section 7, only person competent to contract are authorized to transfer property. Next, coming to contract. Under the Indian Contract Act 1872 section 11, every person to be competent to contract must be a major and of sound mind. Okay, a person is said to be sound mind for the purpose of a contract if at the time of making a contract he is capable of understanding it and of forming a rational judgment as to its effect upon his interest. Next, coming to the Indian Lunacy Act 1912. The Indian laws related to mental disorder were based on British Act. For example, the Indian Lunacy Act, Act 4 of 1912, was based largely on the earlier English Lunacy Act of 1890 and replaced the existing Indian Lunatic Asylum Act, Act 36 of 1858. The ILA, means Indian Lunacy Act, had 8 chapters. Chapter 1 defined a lunatic as an idiot or person of unsound mind. Defectiveness of reasoning, whether partial or complete, was considered as unsoundness of mind. In Chapter 3, 5 categories of admission method were mentioned, namely voluntary, reception order and petition, reception voluntary, reception order without petition, inquisition, judicial, and as a criminal lunatic. There was a board of visitor appointed by the government which had a role in admission of voluntary patient, interfering with ongoing care and treatment and discharge. Except in criminal cases, IG Prisons was an ex officio member of this board. In 1950, 3 eminent psychiatrists appointed by the Indian Psychiatric Society prepared a draft Indian Mental Health Act and forwarded it to Government of India. There was no action taken on the draft for next 10 years, and it was only 1978 that the Mental Health Bill was introduced in the Parliament. The bill had to be reintroduced in Lok Sabha in 1981 and was passed by Rajya Sabha in November 1986. In my next class, I will discuss about the Mental Health Act 1987. So please follow my next class. Thank you.